in this video two wire strippers that I've made in the past. This is the first one. The whole construction is extremely simple and I will tell more about it. In fact, it's a piece of wood, multiplex, preferred, and well, there's a simple knife here. You can see it here. And it's mounted with, say, a piece of steel or whatever. And here into goes the wire, and when it is pushed through that hole, the knife will cut off the isolation. I used this stripper. It was specially made for this type of wire that I bought on a radio flea market. Here, isolation material, also a kind of plastic wire inside. Here the shielding, braided more or less, a piece of kind of aluminium shielding at the same time, and two pieces of plastic here that have to give that wire a kind of stiffness so that it doesn't break easily. And well, I salvage out this wire here and this wire here. I had a kind of issue with another type of wire. But I use the same principle and it's now here. Here we have 3 knives. And the reason is that this type of wire has a kind of very, say, well fixed contact to the copper wire inside. This is the copper wire inside. Of course, it's a kind of standard copper wire used for household installations, etc., etc. But I had to take the isolation off because I wanted to have the bare copper wire. So this is the other approach, 3 knives, and perhaps it's not directly visible, but I have pushed in here a kind of metal tube. I found during the first experiments that when I only used here a hole and try to push or pull the wire alongside the knives, the wire escaped more or less, and it could not be, the isolation could not be properly scraped off. So you need, say, a kind of cut here on that isolation, and then you can easily peel it off. So this was the second approach, and it works, though it doesn't work ideally. It's a kind of a primitive way to peel off the isolation of such a wire with a massive copper core. Anyway, you can also do that, by the way, with a standard knife, and when you don't have to do many peel off jobs, it's a good way to do it. Anyway, let me try to demonstrate it. So I pull now. You can hear that there is a kind of scissor, and well, let me try to do the whole job. So the 3 knives are cutting, but anyway, could be. So now the whole wire was going through. Let's see whether this setup was a little bit useful. I think it was not very useful, but anyway. Here we have that that wire. So the knives did not go too deep. That's a problem. Means that you have to use a scissor or whatever to take the isolation off. But another idea is to do the same job 2 times. Let's try. Perhaps this video will get very long. Anyway, let's try. Using the stripper for the second time. Again, you hear the knives, they are cutting the plastic. It all gets a little bit fierce. Anyway, so let's look again. I think it's still not okay. Anyway, it's a kind of pain to get the isolation off, and then I mean in an easy way. That's the most important thing to tell. I have to take the knife and again peel off the isolation, and perhaps I can show that the stripper works a little bit. So perhaps not a very good advertisement for this solution. Anyway, when you take that isolation in your hand, could be that there is, well, here it works in a certain way. So, oh, my camera drops. That was not the meaning anyway. Perhaps when you set the knives to a more sharp position, and I can surely see now that one of the knives has moved. That makes the circuit, gives a problem to the circuit. So you need a kind of hammer to push the knife back into the right position. Anyway, I think the whole circuit can work when you don't use it in such a sloppy way as I have demonstrated. Thanks for watching. This stripper, by the way, worked perfectly.